As the Jedi Order's chosen one, it isn't surprising that Anakin Skywalker would rise to become one of the most powerful Jedi in the Order by the time of the Clone War. Not only would he demonstrate his proficiency with Force abilities such as telekinesis and precognition, but he would become one of the greatest pilots and lightsaber duelists within the galaxy. However, despite his exceptionally high midichlorian count and the belief that he was the chosen one of Jedi prophecy, there was a Force ability that Anakin recognized he was just completely hopeless with, knowing it would likely always elude him despite his strength with the Force. As we'll see, not only was it an ability that was priceless during the Clone War, one that Anakin explicitly wished he had during the conflict, but his inability to acquire even a minimal amount of talent in this area was an important catalyst that would bring him onto the path of the dark side. This was the ability of Force healing, and Anakin's lack of talent in healing with the Force in general. To understand Anakin's frustration with Force healing and his deficiencies in this area, we'll look at the novel The Clone Wars Wild Space. In the earliest days of the Clone War, only weeks after Episode 2, a horrific attack was orchestrated upon Coruscant that would cause significant damage and loss of life. Although the bombing was blamed upon the Separatists, it had in fact been orchestrated by Palpatine to further fuel the flames of the conflict. But importantly for our video here, Obi-Wan would find himself caught in the attack, leading to disastrous injuries for the Jedi Knight as he waited helplessly on one of Coruscant's rooftops. Given their connection through the Force, Anakin didn't just sense the attack, but also felt the pain of Obi-Wan and his need for help. Racing to him as fast as he could, Anakin impressively used the Force to guide him to his former master, despite the chaos unfolding all around him. When he found Obi-Wan, Anakin sensed and saw the extent of his injuries. Not only was Obi-Wan awkwardly twisted with a deep wound on his right cheek, but he had multiple broken bones and dangerous internal injuries that indicated if Obi-Wan wasn't treated immediately, he wouldn't make it. At this point, given the impressive feat Anakin just demonstrated as his strength in the Force allowed him to find Obi-Wan, you would think that Anakin would at least attempt to use his strength to administer some type of Force healing to save his friend and former master. However, this isn't what Anakin did. Instead, he urgently called the Jedi Temple and successfully ensured Yoda and 3 Jedi healers were able to find Obi-Wan just in time to begin treating his wounds and save his life. When it was confirmed by the healers that Obi-Wan would make a full recovery, we see why Anakin didn't even attempt to use Force healing and his frustration at his lack of skills in this area. As Anakin recognized, despite the fact that he was the Jedi Chosen One with a midichlorian count higher than Yoda himself, he was utterly hopeless when it came to Force healing. In fact, Anakin cursed his lack of talents for healing through the Force and wondered how it could possibly be that the Chosen One wasn't able to achieve even the smallest successes with Force healing. And in reverting back to his frustration seen in Episode 2, Anakin held nothing back in noting to himself that it wasn't fair. The real interesting aspect here is that the novel Wild Space reveals that while Anakin wished he had mastery over the ability of Force healing during the Clone War, it wasn't the only time he cursed and detested his lack of healing talents. This is a clear reference to Anakin's experience in not being able to heal and save his mother Shmi. As seen within the novel, his race to save Obi-Wan vividly reminded him of trying to save his mother on Tatooine, which occurred only weeks earlier at this point. In both situations, Anakin's deepest fears and the terror of loss ripped through him, shouting at him through the Force. Therefore, this wound was again ripped open, and Anakin's failure to understand and acquire some talent for Force healing only further reminded him of how he was unable to save the ones he loved, which of course would only bring him closer to the dark side. This is why Anakin wasn't able to simply heal his mother before she passed away on Tatooine. As Obi-Wan would explain later in the novel, Force healing was one of the rarest gifts within the Jedi Order, and so it wasn't necessarily something that was dependent upon one's strength with the Force. It was a gift for a Jedi to be proficient in healing, generally utilized by the Order's consulars who had empathetic talents and a deep connection to the living Force. This scene from Wild Space tells us a lot, as although Anakin and Yoda were both present, they didn't attempt to heal Obi-Wan at all, despite their powers with the Force, instead allowing the Jedi healers to focus on Obi-Wan's injuries. Despite it being one of the most desirable abilities for him, Anakin just wasn't inherently gifted with Force healing, and I'd argue this wasn't something he would or even could acquire. Once he became Darth Vader, we of course know he couldn't heal himself enough so as to rebuild his damaged flesh, but he also couldn't even heal himself enough to free himself from constant pain. The novel Death Star makes it clear that while he would receive some freedom from his physical pain through the dark side, it never lasted, and this connects well to the frustrations we see Anakin display in Wild Space. But there's a lot more we could discuss regarding the topic of Force healing and the abilities of different Force users within both canon and Legends. So if you have any questions or want to see more videos focused on that topic, just let me know down in the comments section below, and I'll do my best to answer them in an upcoming video. So there we have it, how Anakin was hopeless when it came to Force healing. Thank you very much to all of the Patreon members of Star Wars Reading Club, as your support is so greatly appreciated. You can find all of our social media links and a link to our Star Wars gaming channel in the description below for updates and even more Star Wars content. We love making these videos, so why not subscribe for more fun Star Wars theories and discussions. Also, if you enjoyed the video, think about giving a like or leaving a comment. If not for me... For Jedi Master Vokara.